On YouTube. Thanks for stopping by the old Basehead Mechanic channel. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. I've been getting a lot of questions lately, car audio questions about the build and whatnot, from TikTok videos, base meets, car shows, etc. And I figured I would take this time to kind of do a little one-on-one, unedited, live action Q&A style video of answering the most commonly asked questions. So yeah, let's get right into it. Question number one. What the is in that thing? It's pretty unsuspecting from the outside. If you guys have seen my other videos, it's kind of like an old grandma car. It's a 03 Santa Fe, like a little soccer mobile. So it's pretty unsuspecting. Like, it doesn't have like fancy wheels and tires. It's not like slammed on the ground. It doesn't have a bunch of stickers all over it. So it's kind of like the ultimate sleeper when it comes to audio. And when I play this thing and start flapping doors, it really breaks some necks. So for those of you not familiar with what's in the old soccer mobile here, it's a B-pillar flat wall with 4 Scar Audio ZVX18s on 2 Incriminator 40.1s, wired at half ohm, box is tuned to 24. It's got a bunch of mids and highs in here, big old C-Max bank, lots of sky high wiring. But yeah, it's pretty rowdy, to say the least. Question number 2, and I get this one a lot from the non-basehead crowd, the people that aren't really into car audio. They ask, hey man, how much did all that crap cost? Dude, must have cost a small fortune. I'm like, well, kinda. I'm not rich by any stretch of the word, but there's also guys out there that got 10, 20, 30, 50 times as much invested in their build as I do in this one. Which is fine, I didn't want a crazy expensive build. The point of this build was kind of to use budget equipment and prove that you don't have to go super crazy, super expensive to get loud and windy. And I feel like I've accomplished that, while still maintaining the ability to be a daily driver. Like, this is fully functioning daily drivable vehicle if I wanted to. Like, I'm sitting in the AC right now recording this. It's blowing ice cold, not a light on the dash. We're just sitting here chilling. This thing has driven several states away and back with minimal issues. So that was kind of the goal of the build, and that reflected financially. So it wasn't crazy. But anyway, back to the question. Last time I added it all up, which about a year ago, and many changes have happened since then, but about a year ago when I tallied it, I was just over $5,000 in materials. Now, that doesn't count labor, any of that, because me and a buddy did most of this. Right now, as it sits today, I probably have over 10K invested if I had to put a number on it. But like I said, that's a drop in the bucket compared to a lot of these guys. Some of these guys, they will go all out, spending well over 6 figures, doing a full extreme interior. Everything's steel plated, steel caged, concrete in the doors, the whole 9. But once you get to a certain level, man, and you're having to roll this thing on and off a trailer, that takes the fun out of it for me. I want to be able to hop in this thing and drive it anywhere. So yeah, that's where I'm at with it. If I had to put a number on it, I'd say around 10K for everything. And yeah. Question number 3. Can you drive listening to that thing? Absolutely. I recommend it. It's a lot of fun. I get this one most from like non-basehead people, non-car audio people, just like the last question. But yeah, people are really shocked when I tell them, yeah, I'll drive around this thing full tilt. Now, I don't drive around like city streets and stuff around other traffic, at red lights and stuff doing it. But like, if it's open road, I'm on the highway, dude, hell yeah. I didn't put all this in here to just play it at shows. No, absolutely not, man. I'm driving around beating this thing, just having a good old time. Yeah, some songs your vision gets a little blurry and stuff's flying around. You got to kind of pay attention. You can't see out your mirrors, which is a problem in a walled vehicle if you're trying to change lanes or something. So, but yeah, absolutely. I'll drive with this thing full tilt. Question number 4. How long did all that take you, dude? I'm on year 5. No, any basehead can attest that once you get beyond a certain point, your build is never done. You're always finding stuff to improve, things to add, things to change, things to modify. You know, it's never done. You know, I've had this vehicle for quite a few years, and it's gone through 2 different enclosures, countless number of amps. It's had an electrical rebuild twice, 2 different alternators on it. Like, it just 2 different regulators. It never ends. It truthfully doesn't. Because just when you think you're satisfied with it, you're like, I bet I could do this and gain a little bit, or I bet I can do this and make it a little bit louder. I bet I could change this or do that, or that's not quite sounding right, or, you know, God forbid, you know, something breaks, which happens all the time in the basshead world. So having to constantly replace broken car parts, broken equipment and stuff. So it never ends. But like, if you guys want an idea how long it would take to build just a basic wall in your car, a generic, you know, flat wall, for instance. If you wanted to build a 4/18 flat wall, just the enclosure, you can, if you have the tools at your disposal, you can expect at the bare minimum like a week to 2 weeks, and that's, you know, grinding every day nonstop. If you want to build it correctly. Now, can you slap a wall together in a weekend? Absolutely. Should you? Probably not. Because there's just going to be so many speed bumps along the way that have to be addressed. Like, oh, you know, this board wasn't cut quite right, or, you know, we could make it a little bit longer, we can go a little bit wider, or, you know, we didn't account for this dip in the floor, we didn't account for the, you know, the change in the wheel wells. Just a million different variables will peek their ugly little heads when you go to build something like this. And I had help. A buddy and I built this. He did most of the legwork, and it still took us. We had to do it after work every night, and I want to say that was damn near a month to 2 months. Just, you know, every night after work, going to the shop for a few hours, and working on it. But yeah, it's a work in progress, guys. It's never ending. Number 5, and this one's a bit controversial. I get it a lot. Damn near every base meet, car show, TikTok video, Facebook post, I get this question a lot. I get drugged through the mud for it. I get laughed at, picked on for it. It's the elephant in the room no one wants to talk about, so we're going to talk about it. I've made a video on this before. I think it's on my TikTok. But I get asked all the time, dude, why did you go with Scar subs? Why did you go with Scar? Dude, you could have went with Sundown. They're a cheap rip off of Sundown. You could have put 4 X18s in here, or 4 of the Nightshades, and it would have been stupid windy. It would have been stupid loud. You'll gain 10 dB just swapping over to Sundown. And it's not just the Sundown guys. I'm not picking on Sundown guys. That's just the most common. But, like, you know, I hear it from all the other companies. And to that I say, number 1, I'm accepting donations. So if you want to give me $2,500 worth of Sundown 18s, I'll gladly put them in this wall. And 2, I went with Scar because it's the brand everyone loves to hate. I brought it on myself. I knew I was going to catch hell running these subs, but I also wanted to prove to the younger, newer bass heads that are just getting into this hobby that you can have a decently loud and windy build and not have to drop $1,300 per sub. You know, you can do it with budget equipment. You know, is this the loudest thing out there? Hell no. Is it the windiest? Absolutely not. It's not even the loudest Scar build. I mean, I can name 3 or 4 guys off the top of my head that are crapping on me with Scar. My buddy Brad and Tristan Cooper with their Disturbing Bourbon, that thing is nuts, and it's all Scar subs. There's a bunch out there, guys. But anyway, why I chose to run them is because it's the brand that just, it's the black sheep, right? Everyone hates it, and I don't know, I'm the guy that likes to stir the pot a little bit. So I was like, let me throw these in here and just see what happens. I wasn't expecting to keep these in here more than a couple months. Like, I was already planning these subs replacement before I took them out of the box. Because I was like, if these Scarbage subs are as bad as everyone says they are, I need to go ahead and get a backup plan ready. Because I'm just going to throw these in. They're going to pop in a couple weeks or a month. I'm going to slinky a coil. Or I'm going to put them in. I'm going to hate how they sound. And they're going to come right back out. So, you know, let me go ahead and have a plan B ready. And here we are 4 years later, the same subs still in this car. I've actually, the subs are older than the damn enclosure. This is the second wall that's been in here, and the same subs. Coils still look brand new. So, I mean, there's not really much else I can say about that. I don't know, guys. They speak for themselves. They're 4 years old. I'm still beating the hell out of them every day. And I love them, man. I can only speak for my experience. I know a lot of people have trouble with Scar. They don't really like their business practices. I get that. I don't like them either, honestly. And I wasn't too familiar with that when I bought these subs. Had I known, I probably wouldn't have got into it. But as far as everyone calling it like inferior gear, cheap Chinese junk, they're just ripoffs. They're just another company that stamps a logo on a dust cap. Well, guess what, guys? Hate to break it to you. A lot of companies in car audio do that. Not just Scar. A lot. You would be hard-pressed to find a company that does their own in-house R&D, does their own in-house manufacturing, that does their own in-house anything. Most of these companies that you're buying audio from are marketing companies. They're not audio companies. They're marketing companies. They know how to brand stuff, they know how to market stuff, and they know how to sell stuff. They put a fancy logo on it and a nice package and say, here you go. But that's besides the point. Anyway, that's all I'm really going to get into on the whole Scar subject. I'm kind of beating a dead horse here. Yeah, Scar sucks. We all get it, but if you're on a budget and you want something relatively decent, there's nothing wrong with them, in my opinion. I mean, there's guys out there using Scar equipment doing insane things with them. I mean, several 160 plus DV builds out there using Scar subs. And like I said, I've had these for 4 years, not a single issue out of them. So yeah, we'll move on to the next question. Number 6. What got you into this hobby and how did it escalate to this point? Like, what started you in car audio, man? I get that one a lot, and it's a pretty similar story to most of you guys. You know, you heard your neighbor playing some bass, or, you know, you heard your buddy in high school with a system in his trunk, and you were like, holy shit, I like that. And then you got hooked, right? The bug bit you. So, how I got started in car audio, I'm trying to think, like, the very first time I actually, like, heard some real bass. And I would have to contribute it to my neighbor. Had like an old Lincoln something or another, like a 90s. I couldn't tell you what model. And he had 212s in it, two Sony Explodes, the red cone thing. And we got in it, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. So I thought that was the loudest thing on earth. And the bug bit me that day, and ever since I've been into the hobby, man. I had a sub before I had a car. And my first system ever, my first sub ever, was a Cerwin-Vega Stealth 12 in a prefab ported Cerwin-Vega box. And I just thought I was beating the block down with that thing. It was on a little Rockford Fosgate 500 watt amp. That got really hot, by the way. Like, when they say, I know a lot of people exaggerate so you can fry an egg on an amp, but that one, there was no doubt in my mind. If I were to crack an egg, it would fry it on that heat sink. That thing, I got hot. Didn't stop me though. I was out down there beating. Had my little capacitor hooked up too. Oh man, I've got some stories about some systems I'm not so proud of back in my younger days. But we all did sketchy stuff, right? We all didn't install by the book. We just wanted to be beaten by any means necessary, and I've definitely been there myself. But yeah, that's what got me into the hobby. Was a neighbor had two Explode 12s, and I heard it and I thought it was the coolest thing. And then so I started looking around, found me that little Cerwin-Vega Stealth 12, put that in my first car when I got my license, and then I've just been saving and upgrading ever since. You know, every car I've ever owned, I've put a system in. And now here we are at this point where I got a dedicated audio car with 4 18s in it. So, yeah. All right, last question. I get this one a lot. I've made a video on it before. It's kind of silly, but I'm going to go over it anyway. Where did you get your roof, man? Who did your headliner? I did. My wife and I did. It's faux fur off of Amazon. Yeah, you just hop on there, type in faux fur, whatever colors you want. I did black and white. Comes in a big old roll. Make sure you have enough to do your entire headliner. But yeah, I mean, a lot of guys give me crap for this. Even in my team chat, I'm on Team Deadly Hurts, and in the group we all have our own nicknames. It's not really YouTube appropriate, but they call me Furry Blank because of the damn roof. But that's not stopping me. I like it. It looks cool. It makes for, you know, some decent content and videos showing some airflow and whatnot. And it hides the hideousness that lies beneath. Under this is 2 layers of wood, screws, glue, all that stuff to make the structural integrity of my roof better. And I had a sunroof that had to be deleted and sealed in. So it's kind of ugly up there. So this kind of eliminated that. But yeah, a lot of guys give me crap for it, or like, man, that's so played out. Like, yeah, I mean, kind of. Guys been doing this for years. There's a lot of things that are played out that people still use and enjoy. But yeah. So, anyways, how I did it was, like I said, you get the roll of fur off of Amazon. And there's several different ways to do it. How I did it is, I already had an existing wood roof, but it wasn't completely level, so I took another piece of, I think it was 3/4, might have been 1/2 inch or 3/4 birch, and measured from the end of the enclosure here all the way to where the windshield meets, and put a piece of wood there, so I had a nice flat plane that went the entire area of the cabin, I guess you would say. And then once you got a nice flat plane, it's just a matter of putting the fur up there, measuring it, cutting it to get a ballpark estimate. And then, you know, I used that Super 77, that 3M adhesive spray. You can find it at like Lowe's or Home Depot or whatever. I used that and a combination of a staple gun, and just kind of, you know, sprayed it, laid it down, pulled it tight, stapled it, and just went around until it was nice and tight and flat. But yeah, that's really all there is to it. It's not difficult. My wife and I knocked it out in a weekend. So yeah, that's all the questions I'm gonna answer today. I've got plenty more. If you guys want to see me do another video like this, let me know, or drop a comment below if you got a question you want me to answer. But all right, guys, catch y'all later.